Today is October 13th, 2016. We're back with the podcast. What's up, John?
Hey, I'm doing well, Andrew. How about you?
Good. King of Thailand died.
Yeah, true. He'd been the longest-serving monarch, I guess, of the modern era. Some 7 decades, I think I read.
I know. I've been a big fan of his for years. You know, he's a big jazz player. Yeah. He played a lot of, I think he played the sax and the clarinet. He was a good guy. But now there's a succession issue in Thailand. So I'm kind of interested in seeing that. The son versus the sister will be taking over. They're one of our oldest allies in Southeast Asia. Did you know that?
Well, they're one of the few over there that's not just executing people in the street, apparently.
Well, they did that before, and actually the king stopped it. So we'll see. That was many years ago. He put an end to it. So, wow, 70 years. They've never known anything different. It's funny how that works. China numbers. What happened?
China numbers, trade numbers were crap. And this is concerning me, Andrew, because our economic numbers haven't been crap, but they've certainly been slow. That's everything from job creation to industrial production. To me, indicate that we have been creeping towards not running towards one, but creeping towards a recession. So that worries me. Now, the China numbers, they missed by like 24% under what the street was looking for. And the street was looking for a crappy number. So when you have a crappy number, in other words, everybody else would say, oh, they've lowered the bar so much they'll easily step over it. Not so much. These trade numbers mean that they're not buying as much stuff from us and the rest of the world, nor are they selling as much to us and the rest of the world. Both are bad for China, and both are bad because, you've got the 5 largest economies on Earth are the U.S., China, Japan, Germany, and Great Britain, believe it or not. So if you have China, who sells to all the other 4 named countries and buys from most of the other 4 named countries, if they're cutting back again, and they've already come off of, their fake 7% GDP to whatever the new fake number is, I'm worried. Now, I'm not running around with my little bit of hair I've got on fire or anything, but I'm worried. We need to get some good numbers. And given the political rhetoric, it ain't going to be coming from our politicians. So that's why I'm worried.
But perspective, $53 billion versus 40, that's $12 billion worth of stuff that's not being bought.
In 1 month.
Wow. It's a lot of stuff.
That's why I'm worried. Exactly. So that's the bad side, folks. No, we don't just concentrate on the bad side, but that's the bad side of today's podcast.
If you're looking for some ideas, we've got 4 for you. Starting with OCUL.
Yeah, well, OCUL is Ocular Therapeutics. They just did a deal where they partnered up with, collaborated, I should say. Partnered be maybe a little stronger term, but Regeneron is a much bigger player, and they've partnered up with Regeneron to work on some treatments, and that's a positive, obviously, for OCUL. So when you pull that one up on your graphs today, OCUL is moving up, I think, 15% or something like that, Andrew.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Up a buck, 726.
And if you look at a 3-month graph of this, it bottomed at like $4. And so now it's $3 full off of 4. And that was basically back in the beginning of August 2nd. So this is something that could be pretty good for them going forward. The stock has been in the teens this year, back in April, but it's half of that right now. And I've already taken off half my position we'll see if I stick with anything more in here. But that Lab U from yesterday, it's not doing so bad, Andrew?
No, it's the
Direction S&P biotech. Remember we talked about it, maybe getting into that oversold territory and so forth. It's down 18% in like whatever, a week. Well, it's making a move. But again, the nature of these things, folks, is, a triple levered ETF that resets every day. You got to be careful. Don't just jump on any of these. Andrew could tell you horror stories about it.
I'm living one, but not today.
Not today.
No, my gold's doing okay.
Yeah, knock on wood, GLD is moving up about 0.25%, and the derivatives of it are doing even better, much better.
Just hanging in there. Hey, Speaking of, the other one you wrote down here was CSX, which is kind of counterintuitive. CSX, the rail lines for the China stuff. I mean, how do you pair this off in your brain?
If I was projecting out where CSX, if this China data, if I was projecting it out, that would be one thing. And like I say, it has me worried. But CSX is, of course, reporting earnings in the rearview mirror. What did they do? And at least so far, they haven't seen a reason to say we're going to do less, because they've seen a recovery in coal shipments. They've seen a recovery in crude oil and so forth. So if you're CSX, I don't know that you all of a sudden think that things are going to be terrible for you. I think domestic coal for power plants and so forth, as well as some of the other things they do with intermodal business. Andrew's point is well taken about China. If that is more than just a 1 month thing, that China number, if they continue to be bad, then like I say, what was scaring me a little would be more than scaring me. It would push me out of much of the market if that continues. But CSX is certainly not feeling that yet, and that's why the stock's up, 3% on a day when the market was down 170 for a while. This thing was up.
Okay, and on to something I love, which is energy. McDermott, MDR.
Yeah, another one that we like a lot. I mean, MDR is basically oil field supply stuff. And if you go on their website, you'll see all the different stuff that they supply. But basically anything for upstream field development for these oil companies. And it's not just in America. So this is not a shale play. This is Europe, Africa, Middle East, Asia, Australia, everywhere. This is a big company. But it's a big company that hasn't done exceptionally well this year. I mean, it has rallied off of some very severely sold off conditions. But, you look at a 5-year chart of this thing, back in 2012, it was $15. This year it got down to $2.
How did it end up in your radar? Are we seeing activity on this? I'm seeing some stuff out in January.
Got some unusual activity in MDR, which is why I almost went with it for my unusual activity today. It was basically way out in May, the May 7 calls in next year, 2017. So this is a long ways out, folks. So it doesn't, which is one reason I didn't use it for CNBC, because when it's out there that far, it might take a while to move. And generally, CNBC likes me to cite stuff that's probably moving today, this week, next week kind of stuff.
That's almost 6,000 contracts out there for the 7, so it's like $1.50 out of the money. Not bad. Yeah. 45
not
cents.
Bad. And imagine you throw on a spread, too. Imagine you throw on like the 5.5, 6, or 5.5, 7, or whatever. Anyway, spreading's a great way to play this stuff, but when it's an option this far out, it's not going to, evaporate overnight on you. That's the good part.
It's a forever play, but it's fine. I like it. It's okay. I mean, if you're not in the early stuff. And this last one here, THC, you mentioned this on the show today. A lot of people have been talking about Tenet Healthcare.
Exactly. Tenet Healthcare, year to date, the stock was down 27%. year to date. It was just a buck off the 52-week low when I bought it this morning. It is now up 5.6%, which is $1.20. It's at $22.49. The high is $37.25, but that's been a long time ago, Andrew. I mean, the last time it was in the 30s was basically October last year, a full year ago, not just calendar year. So this thing's been ugly. Maybe they pull off some M&A. Somebody's making a pretty big bet. Normal activity in here is 1,200 contracts a day in the month of September. Last week, that accelerated to 3,000 call contracts a day. Today, almost 18,000.
What strike you looking at? The November?
I'm looking in particular November 22s. So I bought stock and I sold calls and I bought call spreads in THC. So I like it. I think this one's going to move. It's November, so it's shorter time frame than that McDermott we spoke of as well.
As Cyrus from the Warriors said, "Can you dig it?
Can you dig it?
Can you dig it?"
I remember that one.
Can you dig Tenet Healthcare?
I loved Cyrus. He was, let's see, was he the rival gang leader?
Yeah, he was the guy in the beginning that they shot. They killed Cyrus. And then
I remember.
That started the Warriors' trip back.
Yep, because
to Coney
they blamed
Island.
the Warriors for shooting Cyrus.
That's Tenet Healthcare.
We're spinning out of control here.
That's all right. All right. So there you go. There's your 5 stocks for today, or 4 that you can look at. And tomorrow's Friday, end of the week. You doing the show tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be on the show. Maybe we'll have to get a podcast up before the show ends, or maybe before we do the show, so we can get it out there.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. So, folks, remember, you can subscribe on iTunes or on YouTube. Tell your friends about the podcast. Thanks.
All right. Later.
See you, Andrew.